lot of choices this year. I just want to say thank you so much.
Your name again?
And so my name is Maggie Turnbull. I'll be on the ballot as Maggie Turnbull, and sometimes I go as Dr. Margaret Turnbull. I'm sort of sending prayers for the battery in this microphone right now, that it'll keep going, hanging on for all of us. But I really want to say thank you for organizing this and for including all of us who are not part of the two-party system. I'm running as an independent. That means I don't have a big party machinery behind me, but I'm doing everything I can just to let people know that I'm here, who I am, what I stand for. And if you're an independent voter, you don't fit in either of the two boxes, I am there for you on the ballot. As far as, I do want to talk about the spoiler effect that people are concerned about. Aren't I just wasting my vote if I vote for a third party or an independent candidate and taking votes away from one of the other two parties? And in this room, we're probably most concerned about taking votes away from the Democratic Party, let's be real. But I want to tell you that, so I was born in West Dallas. And most of my family is around all throughout the whole Milwaukee area, including the city of Milwaukee. And my family, my parents live in northern Wisconsin now because when I was a kid, my dad wanted to go to medical school, and at that time we had a program in the country that would pay for people to go to medical school who couldn't afford it in exchange for going to an underserved area. So for the last 30 years, we've been up north, and my dad's been working on the Stockbridge-Muncie Indian Reservation. And he's still there, he's still working. He's delivered a couple generations of babies, delivered babies of babies that he's delivered. So, and we're so connected to that community. So all by way of saying is that a big part of my homeland in this state is northern Wisconsin, and that is red country. And I will tell you, there are so many people who are done with the Republican Party, but the perception of the Democratic Party, hell is going to freeze over before they go that far, right? But an independent, especially somebody who's from that place and is connected to those people, can win a lot of votes from those areas. And rural Wisconsin has a lot of the same problems that urban Wisconsin has as far as the inequities are concerned. So that is a really important issue to me, and I consider that whole northern range of Wisconsin as well as the southern cities to be my homeland in the state of Wisconsin. So I was so impressed with our future AG and things he was talking about just now that definitely won my vote. And I don't want to repeat every single thing you said, and I couldn't do it as well as you did it, but it was brilliant, and I'm 100% behind everything that you talked about. There's a couple issues that I wanted to get to that I think are especially important for the Milwaukee area. One of the questions that I've gotten is about whether or not I would be willing to support a local option sales tax for the city of Milwaukee, especially in light of the shared revenue freeze and substantial police pension liabilities. And I want to come out and say absolutely yes. I mean, I am in favor of local control. And I know that it kind of seems like whatever party is not in control of the legislature is always in favor of local control. But the state has just gone way too far in peeling back communities' own abilities to raise their own revenue and to make their own regulations on the environmental front, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I would not stand in the way of communities being able to have an option for a sales tax to help support their own revenue stream. The other thing is that I want to look at all the shared revenue programs and restore equity, because again, we see, whether you're talking about schools or other areas of shared revenue, we're seeing it's the suburban areas that are funded are more well-funded relative to the urban and the rural populations. So we need to balance that out and get rid of some of these inequities. I think that when it comes to the inner city schools, education is such an important part of addressing the disparities that we see. I was here a few weeks ago and I visited the Journey House at the Longfellow School, and I was so excited to see some of the creative ways that the creativity that they're having with their school. They're turning a big parking lot into a green space for those kids to be able to use for an outdoor classroom. I think there's so many creative things that we can do. And as a scientist, I really want to see kids getting out of the classroom, exploring nature, whatever little patch of green space they can get into, and just interacting with Mother Earth. She has so many good lessons to teach us about our relationships with each other, our connection to this planet, how it all works. And that's a wonderful platform for kids to start learning how to explore and working together and coming up with their own ideas and their own questions and starting to drive their own education, because we want that feeling of self-reliance and knowing how to be a strong thinker no matter what kind of work they end up going into as adults. The other issue that I've been asked about is, what about Wisconsin's crimeless revocations policy? I think this is ridiculous. So Wisconsin's crimeless revocation policy is, if you're on probation, you're on parole, minor, little, tiny infractions can throw you right back in jail and ruin all the good progress that you were just finally starting to make. Jobs lost instantly, and completely take people off the rails. I think that is totally inexcusable. Our justice system is not here to trip people up over technicalities. It's here to support people in starting a new life. So I want to move towards restorative justice programs. We have good examples of municipalities that are going in that direction. I very much want to support that and get rid of the crimeless revocations policy altogether. I want to talk about so another question was, what are you going to do to increase the effectiveness of the offices of Secretary of State and State Treasurer, which have seen their powers recently changed? And the State Treasurer in particular I want to talk about, because that is an important role for our state. It's been proposed that we get rid of our State Treasurer. Do you know how many states have done that so far? Zero. No states.
Zero.
No states are getting rid of their State Treasurer. This is an incredibly important piece of accountability. When our legislatures pass a budget and that becomes law, the State Treasurer is making sure that they actually spend the money according to that budget. And it amazes me actually that anybody would propose getting rid of that office in an election year, because it seems like one of the most obvious ways to say that, we just don't really feel like being accountable to anybody. We'll just spend your money however we want to. And that I think is inexcusable. We have to have a State Treasurer, and I will point out, not going to name names, but there's a brilliant woman running for State Treasurer right now. I had the pleasure of meeting and talking with her, and she's going to turn it around. So
You can name names.
Sarah
Sarah.
Yay.
Go Sarah.
Godlewski.
How do you pronounce her last name again?
Godlewski.
Godlewski. Okay. Yeah, she is dynamite, and she was at a candidate forum recently, and it was all governors and state representatives and state senators, and then the treasurer. And it never even occurred to me that a treasurer would be out there like getting cheers from the audience, getting people so excited about it. But suddenly we could really care about what the treasurer does, and it is incredibly important. I want to talk about teacher shortages. when there are a lot of different factors that led into the situation that we're at right now with teachers and people now wanting to go into those professions, school districts having a hard time filling the positions that are open. Look, I mean, we need to really recognize and honor the role of the teacher as one that is just so necessary for our entire state to be healthy. They are, you know, right at the base of the pyramid that is supporting our entire society. Working with children, their roles have expanded beyond just delivering content. So it's really important for us to make sure that the experience of getting certified to be a teacher isn't overly onerous, but at the same time, there needs to be, clear challenges. Like, yes, you are capable of delivering that content. I went through all that as a scientist, and I gotta say, it was motivating to know that the standards were high for me to get that degree and get the job that I wanted to get. And I think that we respect teachers as a profession when we can see that they are being put, through strong requirements in order to get that kind of a job. But then we respect and we honor them and we support them when they're in the classroom. We make sure they have the support they need to deal with all of the emotional issues. There's so many special needs now in the classroom. We have got to make sure that they have the support and the training they need to be in that role and to be paid according to that profession.
I'm going to have to reserve time for questions from them,
sure.
not just that you've heard elsewhere, because
I'm so sorry.
most of this is Q&A.
That's the last sort of issue.
Okay.
Yeah. And mainly what I wanted to sort of say to distinguish myself from perhaps what one of the main points are from the Democratic Party is that if I did nothing else over the next 4 years, but reform the way that our elections process works, that would, I really appreciated your question about that, because that is at the bottom of so much discord in our society. I don't want red waves and blue waves. These are waves. They crash and dissipate and go away. What I want is to use that ballot to build consensus, and we can do that. Other states are moving towards something called ranked choice voting, where you rank all your candidates. We have to do that. That way you can vote for your favorite independent on the ballot and have your favorite Democrat as your second choice. And if that independent doesn't get enough votes to stay in the race, your vote will still go to your safe second choice. It's no wasted votes. It uses the ballot to find the common ground. And the candidates have to start showing up to all the forums. They have to start connecting and letting you know who they are. And that is the one change that I think would be the biggest legacy for the next governor, if they could make that happen. Other than that, I think automatic voter registration. Let's take down the barriers to getting registered. I want to move Wisconsin towards voting by mail. Other states are doing this too. So one less barrier of trying to get to a polling station, waiting in line, maybe it's snowing, it's November, anything could happen. So voting by mail save us a lot of money, more secure, more accessible to everybody. So reforming our election system is the number one thing I want to get to.
Okay, we're going to have a Q&A, so don't go anywhere.
Awesome.